If you've been following this channel for a little while, then you might remember me saying this.
I also shot this double exposure, which was kind of an accident, kind of not. But I actually really like this photo, and it's made me think that maybe double exposures is something I want to play around with in the future.
Multiple exposures are always something that have kind of happened to me by accident, rather than choosing to create them. Whether that's because my strobe didn't fire and I had to fire a second exposure to test the lights, or I forgot to advance my lever on my RB before taking another shot. I've always looked at multiple exposures as kind of like throwaway photos, never really appreciated the art of actually what it takes to create a good multiple exposure. Of course, that was until I tried to create one on purpose.
Maybe sit like wherever it's dry here. Yeah, if you bring your shoulder back up, okay. Yeah, that's nice. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, nice. And then, if you just tilt your head like slightly up, or let's have a look, down a little bit more, maybe you just kind of like look in that direction. We just basically want to move the image slightly. Chin down slightly for me. Yeah, that's nice. Nice, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to be annoying and get you this side, just so that I can get you to face the flowers. Yeah, so for this one, I think I'm going to take a photo of you and then take a photo of the flower. Yeah, that's nice. Chin down slightly for me. Nice, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if you look at me while you're holding it, we're going to do 2. If you drop your chin down a little bit for me, and then I'm going to get you to look at the flower. Oh, that's really lovely. Just move the hat back a little bit so I can get a bit more light into your face. Yeah, perfect, love that. Nice, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Nice, and then we'll finish the roll with a double exposure. So we'll do 2 kind of close-ups, like 1 you looking at me, 1 you turning your head slightly. Perfect. Yeah, that's lovely. Nice, hold that there. We'll go 1, 2, 3. And then if you want to move however you feel you want to. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Nice, 1, 2, 3.
Photography, and especially such a manual form of photography such as film photography, is definitely a journey of making mistakes and learning from them in order to become a better photographer. I've been documenting my journey on film photography on this channel for a number of years now, mistakes and all, in an effort to kind of grow as an artist and a photographer, but also to share the bits that I learn along the way with, this audience that I've been lucky enough to build on this channel. I think it's important to embrace our mistakes, to recognise them, to see the positive in the mistakes that we're making, but also to reflect and think about how we can do better next time. Of this roll of multiple exposures, there are actually very few shots that I actually like or that I feel worked effectively. So looking at what I've done on this roll and reflecting on maybe what didn't work, I've kind of come up with 3 things that I want to take into my next attempt. Firstly, less is more. The more simple the exposures and the less the mind has to process, the more effective. It's probably why I prefer the double exposures in black and white rather than colour. My brain doesn't have to process the colour, it's just the light, the shape, the contrast. So next time I'm going to attempt to capture exposures that focus on that simplicity. So for example, utilising a simple or plain background, like the one that I used in the accidental multiple exposure of Jack in the studio. And just focusing on the movement of the model. That might be more effective than having so many different layers of a photo, layered with so many more layers of another exposure. Secondly, I'm going to keep the camera steady. And this one should have been a no-brainer, but for whatever reason, it didn't come to mind at the time of shooting. But next time, I want to plant my camera steadily on a tripod and keep the camera in one place. so that the only thing moving between the exposures will be what's in frame and not the framing itself. And thirdly, I want to be less spontaneous. I want to plan the result a little bit more mindfully, be more considerate of how the exposures will look when layered amongst each other. Hopefully that way I'm going to minimize, awkward double exposures, awkward multiple exposures where things just don't line up properly. So these are just some of the things that I want to try in my next attempt on a new journey to capture a perfect multiple exposure, or at least one that I'm happy with. If you're interested in following my journey as I learn a little bit more about what makes up a great multiple exposure, then please do remember to subscribe.